Hey everyone, for TRICHOMES.com, I'm Ashley Manning, and this is Careers in Cannabis. On this show, we sit down with staffing agencies, cannabis companies, and other industry professionals to discuss employment opportunities in the burgeoning cannabis industry. Millions are still unemployed, and recently several employers are reporting that they cannot find workers. Some of those reasons are fear of getting COVID, unable to find reliable childcare, the extended unemployment benefits, and in some states, employers are reporting that their former employees have changed their careers to a career in the essential cannabis industry. On this episode, we talk with Blake Watson, combat veteran and co-founder of Reefer Gigs, who is seeking those who want to find a career in the fast-growing cannabis industry. Hey, Blake, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. I know you and I connected on LinkedIn, a very valuable resource for those seeking career opportunities in cannabis. So thank you for accepting my message and agreeing to participate in this interview.
Of course. Thanks for reaching out. Super exciting.
Yes. So I would love to really start with knowing what you were doing right before you co-founded Reefer Gigs.
Sure. As you said, I co-founded. So my wife, she's the founder. So it is kind of, as I mentioned to you earlier, she's the brain, I'm the brawn. So this was her idea, more or less. But it's me that's, really pushing the execution of it. So prior to this, I was in the military, roughly 10 years ago, combat veteran. I was in the infantry, deployed to Afghanistan. And then from there, I got into tech, got into the startup world, really got to work with a lot of founders, a lot of CEOs, really started to build my network, started to understand the pain points of growing companies. And then from there, I really struggled trying to bolster the cannabis industry from Texas. I'm born and raised in Texas. And so as you can imagine, it's been a challenge to just even get my foot into the industry at all. So I've tried a couple different ventures and, always got stuck in different, hurdles here or there. And ultimately my wife, she's secretly been working on this. And when she wanted to finally bring it to me, it was just perfect timing and the planets aligned and we were able to kind of jump on it. And it's been a roller coaster ever since.
Well, I can imagine that in Texas, it's very difficult to be involved in the cannabis industry and be publicly speaking about it in different ways. So this is one of those avenues. Are you still located in Texas?
We are, but okay. We've bought property in New Mexico. So we are actually headquartered out of Albuquerque. And if you know about them, we're on track. We have our legalization coming up there in New Mexico. So we do all of our work remotely out of Texas, but we're headquartered out of New Mexico.
Gotcha. Well, welcome to the cannabis industry.
Thanks so much.
Well, you've been in it for a little while, but, welcome to establishing, helping other brands build their company after you've worked in startup modes for other industries. That gives you a mindset of what is needed to grow those foundations, and applying that skill set to cannabis. Sounds like you have that knowledge. So welcome.
Thank you.
Were you nervous about the name Reefer Gigs deterring anyone from potentially candidates?
I love the question. No, not at all. I think the only people that it deters is, people that either one could potentially be uneducated on the fact that, words are only words with certain types of context behind them. And I think reefer, the definition is marijuana cigarette, right? I think we can all argue if that's true or not. But I think it was, in history, it's been used with bad context. And so I kind of want to take it out of that light and put it into some good context. So I saw it as a great branding opportunity, great conversation starter, and ultimately it aligned with our business model. We think that it's madness trying to find a job in the cannabis industry. So what a perfect name.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I worry, I'm always thinking about everybody else too, and was thinking that potentially if you were the CEO of a pharmaceutical company, for instance, they might say, I don't know, because they just see reefer, but they have to understand reefer madness is what really brought us to where we are today.
Right.
It's unfortunate, but it's shown that it's actually, helping the industry. So thanks for co-founding Reefer Gigs. It's exciting. And also thank you for your service to our country. That's a big task, and it's appreciated. So thank you for that as well. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some of the current open opportunities that Reefer Gigs has.
Sure, definitely. So give you an idea, Reefer Gigs, what we are is a subscription service that's free to candidates. And obviously we charge a hiring fee to businesses. So our business model is basically we show what positions we have available on our website, and through any sort of marketing or advertising efforts that we do. But you don't actually get all the details, for instance, how to apply or what the company name is without being an email subscriber. So just with that being said, Ashley, we do have some positions currently, and after we kind of were saving them, dragging our feet a little bit to get done with this with you, to be able to send out our most recent job offerings and our email. So some of them we have positions all across the board. Some of them are very technical, but since we're doing this and we're still a small team, we have the ability to take all the LinkedIn requests or take the personal emails and implement that into our search. So some of these jobs are scattered, whether it be from a location to just the technical role. So we have anything from UI, UX, product positions within like the financial sectors. Again, in the financial sector, we have some compliance positions. We have senior accounting roles. And I can touch on some of these roles here in a minute and tell you like some idea candidates, what they're looking for as well. So for instance, the senior accounting role, this is a very technical position for this company. So they are looking for that educational experience background, that technical background. So they want 8+ years. I said it's senior, 8+ years accounting experience, which I know that's a tall order. But they want knowledge of U.S. GAAP, IFRS, international financial reporting standards knowledge preferred. So very technical. And again, all this information's in our subscriber list. So when we send out the email, you'll get all the detailed breakdown, the detailed information about each position. We have like operation positions, marketing managers, out of new exciting places like New York, for instance.
Are they remote? Any of them remote positions?
Yes, yeah. So the first couple that I mentioned are remote, and then we have some operations, marketing. Those are out in New York, and then we have some like customer facing positions, some dispensary associates, customer consultants, and stuff like that. We have a lot of those coming out of Arizona. It is challenging to fulfill jobs there if you're, if you understand it at all, because they have a lot of strict regulations on background checks and drug-related offenses. So they've been having a lot of challenges with that. But
drug offenses,
right?
They own a cannabis company, so are they also So they're, I don't want to say discriminating. That's not the right word. They're taking that into consideration. Is that more the state regulation or the operator's policy?
Right. That's a great question. It's from my understanding, and again, I'm no legal expert on it. This is just information. We just have a relationship with the companies, and every company that we've spoken with so far out of Arizona, it seems to be a state regulation that they're required to do a background check. They're not allowed to have anybody with felonies or drug-related offenses that are going to be customer facing, I guess, within the industry. So don't quote me if I'm wrong, but yeah.
Different states have different, I was subject to that myself in the state of California. I couldn't work with a public facing cannabis company due to misdemeanors from working in the cannabis industry. And that has hindered a lot of people. I've had people reach out to me on LinkedIn all the time saying, I have this conviction or this misdemeanor? You know, am I going to not get this job? And there's not really any way to answer it because it's up to the state to decide.
Right.
But then there's also the drug testing aspect of things too. So those who are looking for a career in cannabis, you know, don't let that hinder you applying for other roles in the industry. Maybe that's not the right role for you. There's other opportunities. It sounds like that you also have available if that is a hindrance to the candidate.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, really, you know, don't let anything hinder you getting into the industry ultimately. I mean, like I said, I'm from Texas and, you know, we're doing it. Maybe not in the manner that everybody always wants. But you can definitely bolster the industry. You can, you know, you can create an opportunity for your family, you know, for, you know, I mean, shoot, at the very least, your grandkids will talk about you. You know, hey, grandpa or grandma was in the industry, you know, when they were fighting prohibition and stuff. And that's exciting times, I think. It's kind of like an opportunity to be a mini Elon Musk, you know, take some risks to get a little bit of reward out there. And, you know, it might pay off really well. So, but it is challenging.
For sure. Is there, what are you seeking? And when applicants are coming in, what are you seeing that is the one thing that might be hindering them from getting a job, you know, whether it be on their resume or what is keeping people from getting jobs?
I mean, that changes every day. What keeps people from getting the jobs, I would say. Currently, we don't have a huge sample size, you know, so I definitely, you know, kind of say that. So everything I say is, you know, based on a small sample size. But What we're seeing is, you know, a lot of candidates, it's not necessarily like, believe it or not, there's really a lot of people that are applying to have great records. Surprisingly, it's a lot of people that are ready to take that, you know, career change is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of, you know, accepted industries switching over, we can put it that way. And, but in terms of, I think expectations is like the biggest thing for candidates. You know, everybody's coming into the industry with a certain level of expectation. And then, and so whether it's pay, whether it's benefits, that all varies. And I think the biggest thing that you know, our team, me, my wife, and what we do is education. You know, that's important. I need to educate the candidates. Also educating the hiring companies, you know, what is out there? What candidates are out there? Is your job listing, is it really going to land you the ideal candidate, or are you hurting yourself, essentially, you know? So expectation.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. You'll learn that immediately once you get into the industry too, but it's a long game. It's not, can't think of what's happening right now in the next 6 months. Even in six months, the growth can be phenomenal for a cannabis company, whether it's plain touching or not. So
I completely agree.
Did you happen? I noticed a trend in stories and in traditional news just in these past couple weeks with people actually saying, not in cannabis, saying they're having difficulties finding workers to come back to work. And it's mostly hospitality, restaurant industry. And they've reported that some of those previous employees are taking careers in cannabis and choosing not to come back. I don't know if you heard that or not, but it's happening.
Yeah. Opportunity, you know, I mean, it gives people an opportunity to change. So yeah, I've seen that as well. I've seen some, you know, like I said, we're in a great position, our, you know, company, because there are a lot of hiring managers out there that their traditional methods of finding roles, I mean, this is across the board, cannabis or otherwise, it's just not working for them like it used to. So they are reaching out to alternative methods like email subscription services like ours. So I do see that. I do see the struggle to find candidates to fill these roles. But like you said, you know, and like I mentioned earlier, I am seeing a lot of industries jump, and they're taking the risk, you know, to try to get a job in cannabis.
Yeah, I don't know if you feel the same way as me, but once the extended unemployment runs out in October, I think, I anticipate people coming in the candidate pool becoming even larger at that point, because then they're gonna possibly battle between going into a different industry or returning to the industry that they were in, and it could be up in the air whether restrictions are there or not.
Exactly right. I mean, there's a lot of incentive right now to take your time to find the ideal job. So, that's the nicest way to put it, I think. But yeah, there is. Yep.
What are you looking for in your candidates that are applying?
Um, I need the reality. Every hiring manager, for the most part, at least the jobs that we're trying to fulfill, they're smaller companies. I have that understanding, that knowledge, that network of startups. So naturally, our company is favoring a lot of startups. So what we're looking for is someone who can fulfill a lot of roles. Essentially, not roles, but wear a lot of hats. They don't necessarily do that one job and have a huge team to support that one job. So I think flexibility, the ability to adapt, those are the things that we're looking for in a great candidate. So I'm less concerned about experience. I'll fight for candidates every day. Less about educational experience. I'll fight for candidates every day over their attitude and their actual industry experience, whether it's, for a big company name or not, because I think those things are important, and that everything else can be taught within the company.
I agree with you on that thanks for supporting those who are working hard and showing up every day to be passionate about cannabis and help spread the message of what it can do. We're all a part of that team, so thanks.
Exactly.
One of my favorite questions that I like to ask everyone is, what is some big brother advice that you would give someone who's maybe on the fence of getting a job in the cannabis industry?
Sure. Great question. We've already touched on a few of them, right? Don't give up. It's not necessarily easy. There's not necessarily a bunch of security. A lot of these jobs don't necessarily come with benefits. A lot of them are contracts, 1099s. So understand how you're going to do your taxes. I think, professional big brother advice, I think everybody can say the normal stuff, but I think professional big brother advice is, CYA, take care of you, understand your taxes, understand how you're going to, you benefit from this job, this opportunity, whatever it is, and understand the risk. Hey, there's not benefits maybe. So how am I going to provide for my family in that regard, or yourself? So I think those are some of the, big brother advice I would give. It's a different industry. It is kind of wild, wild west. So there isn't that security, but there's so much opportunity and reward on the other end.
Absolutely. And that's the first time I've actually heard someone talk about, the 1099 aspect of things, and that it is the wild, wild west still. And so thanks for being transparent with us regarding that. And sure. I do love the subscription model idea of what you guys are doing. It seems like you're able to be a little bit more personalized to your candidates, and work one-on-one versus the larger recruiting firms who they have a big, massive team, which is great. But if it's smaller, you're able to work a little bit more closer. So are you going to continue with that model?
Yeah, our whole thing is people over profit. So we just, like I said, we want to bolster the industry. This isn't, it's not a short sprint. It's a long-term thing. So I love going against the grain. It's been my model since I was a little kid. So I think that this kind of disrupts the normal status quo of charging 20% and up, and all this stuff. And no person, people build businesses on people, and but yet they double down on technology and other advances to get the candidate the fastest, or get that hiring company the fastest. And I think we just need to slow down, and that will help the industry as a whole. It'll help us with our retention issue and etc. So.
Retention issue, that's was what I brought up on my last interview. Turnover, that's a big thing in the industry, is seeing that. But I almost see that as opportunity for people to come in and show their skill sets. Oh, you had turnover, here I am to show you what I can do for you then.
Right, it's opportunity. So, and that goes back, just to touch on this, it goes back to expectation. Like I mentioned, that's the biggest hindrance, I think, is people come into the cannabis industry with a lot of expectations, whether right or wrong. And I think that plays a lot into our retention issue, and I point our finger at these firms. They're not educating their candidates on expectations. They're just trying to land roles. So.
And that is the reason for Careers in Cannabis and me asking that big brother, big sister advice to people, because I want the reality of it too. You know, take the business hat off and be a big brother and sister. This industry is built off relationships and compassion. And I think that, you know, question itself lends to show that compassion that we all have.
Totally agree.
How can Reefer Gigs be reached?
On our website, reefergigs.com. You can subscribe there if you're a hiring company. Down at the bottom, we have a link there. It's just a straightforward email link to our contact at Reefer Gigs, or Blake at Reefer Gigs. We're not hiding.
Are you open to being found on LinkedIn by those potential candidates as well?
Of course. This is a big part of it. I have a lot of candidates that send me personally. Getting them to convert to the email subscribers is a challenge sometimes. But nonetheless, you know, like I said, people over profit. We know that this is a long-term goal, or long-distance sprint, excuse me.
Yeah.
We're in no rush. But yes, 100% open to LinkedIn connections and communication.
Awesome. Was there anything that you'd like to leave off with today?
No, I really appreciate it, Ashley, and TRICHOMES. I love keeping up with the cannabis industry through y'all's website and stuff. So I really appreciate you guys and being a resource for us. And thanks again for having me on. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you again, Blake Watson. It sounds very, detective like. Blake Watson of it almost, you know, as a recruiter, you know, sorry, a little bit of a squirrel moment here, you know, you're a detective, you're investigating them, their background, and immediately your name combined with Reefer Gigs is what drew my attention, because it to me, I thought Blake Watson thought of a detective and then recruiting. So just give you my insights on that.
I love it. Thanks, Ashley. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Blake Watson. I look forward to seeing what Reefer Gigs brings to the cannabis community and having you back on, because this industry is just going to keep growing from here. So thank you so much, Blake.
Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate it.
Bye. Hey, thanks for watching our channel. Click here to watch another episode of Careers in Cannabis and more great shows and interviews. To find more cannabis industry reporting, insider stories, and to stay up to date on the latest trends, make sure you subscribe and keep up to date with the TRICHOMES community app. Download it now and we'll see you there.